Welcome to the ASKHub YouTube channel. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most vital skills in the digital universe, figuring out who you're actually talking to online. It's all about finding your people, learning their language, and making a connection that really sticks. So, let's get this mission started.
So I want you to think of yourself as a kind of digital anthropologist. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to navigate this vast, noisy online world. It's just a sea of data and signals, right? Well, your job is to cut through all that chaos to find these specific communities, these tribes, and then analyze how they behave so you can finally reach them in a meaningful way.
All right, so how do we even begin to decode all of that? Well, let me tell you, the old marketing rules of just, find the right person and send them a message, that's not going to cut it anymore. The digital world we live in now, it demands something way more sophisticated.
And here it is. This is the new formula. To really make an impact today, you need what we call 6 degrees of alignment. It's not just about finding the right person anymore. It's also about giving them the right content in the right place, like on Instagram versus LinkedIn, using the right format, maybe a video instead of a blog post, then using the right language and tone, all on the right device they happen to be using at that exact moment. You get all 6 of those lined up, boom, you've cracked the code.
Okay, so to get that 6-point alignment just right, you're going to need the proper tools. So let's talk about gearing up for this mission. We'll look at the tech and the methods that make this kind of crazy precision even possible.
The main tool, the lens you'll be looking through, is big data. And we're talking way beyond simple customer surveys here. We can now analyze pretty much everything, from a person's clickstream, that's the literal path they take on a website, to data from their smartwatch or even their car. We can even find patterns in audio and video. This is the raw clay we use to understand modern buyer behaviors.
And all that data gets processed using this, your behavioral targeting toolkit. Think of this as your set of specialized instruments for pinpointing your audience with incredible accuracy. Let's break down a couple of the most important tools in this kit.
First up, we have behavioral targeting. This one is all about action. It looks at what people actually do online. What are they buying? What are they searching for in Google? It's a super powerful way to understand what they need right here, right now.
Next in the toolkit is interest targeting. Now this one's different. It focuses on what people say they like. The pages they follow, the hobbies they list on their profile, the groups they join. This helps us get a feel for their long-term passions.
Then you've got lookalike targeting, which is honestly a total game changer for growing your audience. You can basically give a platform a list of your very best customers, and its algorithm will go out and find millions of other people who act and think just like them. It's kind of amazing.
And we can get even more precise. We can layer on connection targeting, which looks at who your friends and followers are. And then there's location targeting, which uses real-world GPS to reach people, say, the moment they walk into a specific store. It gets really granular.
Okay, so we've got the tools, we've got the data. But data is just a bunch of numbers, right? The real magic happens when we use that data to find the people behind the screens. Let's look at how we turn these faceless crowds into real, understandable tribes.
The way we do this is by building something called a persona. It's basically a 3-step process. First, you identify the different roles people play within your audience. Step 2, for each of those roles, you figure out their specific needs, their pain points, what makes them tick. And finally, step 3, you craft your message to speak directly to those unique needs. And here is a fantastic real-world example. JetBlue. They sell one thing, a plane ticket, but they don't talk to every traveler the same way. For their business traveler persona, they know the trigger is all about efficiency, so the message is about being a boss without breaking the bank. But for the family traveler, the trigger is stress, keeping the kids happy, so the message is about TVs and extra legroom. It's the same exact product, but with totally different segmentation and messaging. Genius.
Now here's another brilliant way to segment your audience. It's called the social technographics ladder. This model doesn't care about age or where you live. It classifies people based on how they actually behave on social media. Are you a creator, someone who's constantly making new stuff? Or are you more of a spectator, just quietly watching from the sidelines?
And this is the key insight. The internet is not what you think it is. A whopping 70% of users are spectators, this huge silent majority that just consumes content. Only around 24% are actively creating things. Understanding this is absolutely critical because it means you're almost always speaking to the people who watch,
not the people who make. So just for a second, think about yourself. Where do you fall on this ladder? Maybe you're a total creator on TikTok, but you're just a spectator on Twitter. Maybe you love being a critic, leaving reviews on Amazon, but on Instagram, you're a collector, just saving posts for later. See? Your role isn't fixed. It changes from platform to platform.
You know, that idea that our behavior changes depending on the platform, that's the perfect way to move to our next point. Once we've found our tribe, how do we actually make contact in a way that doesn't just fall flat?
Well, it turns out the purpose of the platform is everything. Look at this. Almost 40% of people use Facebook to get news. But LinkedIn? That's almost all business. You wouldn't try to sell complex software with a silly meme on Facebook, and you probably shouldn't post your vacation photos on LinkedIn. Context is king always. And timing is just as important. For a B2B, or business-to-business audience, you want to catch them when they're in work mode, weekdays between 10 and 5. But for a B2C, or business-to-consumer audience, you want to connect during life mode. That means evenings and weekends. It's all about matching the natural rhythm of their day.
And finally, you have to remember that each platform has its own special kind of intelligence. Facebook is an absolute beast when it comes to finding people based on their personal interests and building those lookalike audiences we talked about. LinkedIn, on the other hand, is built around your professional life, your job title, your industry. You have to pick the right platform for the kind of targeting you want to do.
Okay, this brings us to our final and maybe the most important point of all. Finding your audience, it's not a one-time thing. It's not a task you can just check off your list. The mission truly never ends.
You see, success in the digital space is a continuous loop. You have to constantly monitor the data to see what's working and what isn't. Then you adjust your strategy based on what you learn. Maybe you change the timing or the format or the message itself. And then you repeat the whole process, always learning, always refining, always getting better at reaching the right people.
So let's do a quick mission debrief. First, you decode the signal using big data. Second, you segment that huge crowd into smaller tribes using models like technographics. Third, you build a real, human persona based on their needs. And finally, you optimize your reach by showing up at the right time on the right platform.
And that officially completes our mission for today. This entire explanation was based on the fantastic module led by Dr. Sumaya Askri. Thank you so much for watching.